In the headlines, will Prime Minister Alan Chastanet name the date for the general election at the upcoming Flabo Forum slated for Sunday? A small business owner and his employee used their kitchen utensils to put up a fight with robbers who attempted a daring daylight robbery. And the president of Balance Inc. outraged that ministry officials and events company have given no word about virtual carnival despite a letter from the association. The details of these stories and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Friday, the 11th of June, 2021. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. St. Lucians will have to wait and see when the Prime Minister will announce the election date. The question rose as Hot 7 TV spoke with UWP spokesperson Nancy Charles about the second installment of the Flabo Forum. The second installment is carded for Sunday, the 13th of June, featuring Ministers Dominic Fede, Herod Stanislas, and Leonard Montoute. We put the question to the UWP spokesperson: can St. Lucians expect an announcement of the election date at that forum?
I'm not the political leader, so I'm not too sure which medium the political leader will choose. Eventually, when he's ready to announce the date. I think as a member of the United Workers' Party, I'm hoping that he will use Flabo Forum to do so. I would be very excited if he chooses. But unfortunately, I cannot confirm or say to you that this is the forum or the medium he'll use to do so. So we'll just have to take a let's wait and see approach.
That was UWP spokesperson Nancy Charles on whether or not the Prime Minister would be announcing the election date on the upcoming edition of the party's Flabo Forum. The election anniversary has come and gone, and still there has been no inclination as to when the Prime Minister will announce the date. Instead, the party is taking the opportunity through its Flabo Forum to showcase the party's objectives.
One would argue that there are a number of shows all over the mainstream television that we could utilize. But certainly sometimes you don't want to compromise the integrity of some of the shows out there. And the other shows out there also have to have their objective. So the objective of the Flabo Forum is for us to continue to showcase the work of our politicians in government. And so you will see that our current parliamentarians would appear on the forum in the political colors, and that is to showcase the work of the party in government and to give them a platform and an opportunity where they can now speak directly to the electorate in terms of a bid for us to remain in office and a bid for St. Lucians to vote us back into government.
Sunday's forum will focus heavily on the reopening of the tourism industry.
Certainly one would appreciate that we didn't get to where we're at today. If you look at the other countries in the region who are still under heavy closures, the state of emergency does not allow for a lot of openings of certain aspects of their businesses. But in St. Lucia, we are pretty much blessed. But I must also say that it is because of the smart work of this current government and the strategic approach, that we took to where we're at, which has gotten us to where we're at. So you will have Minister Dominic Fede, who's responsible for tourism. You would have Honorable Leonard Montoute and Honorable Herod Stanislas, and these are two of the heavily tourism impacted constituencies who will be speaking to the management of the government with reference to COVID-19 and the fact that we were able to be very strategic in reopening our tourism economy to a certain extent.
The Flabo Forum is expected to continue in the coming weeks. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
Thank you, Nisha. A daring robbery and dangerous tussle played out on the Mon on Friday. Anthony Gabriel, known as Chef, was robbed at gunpoint at his restaurant. The senior businessman was rescued from potential danger by his employee, who hit one of the bandits upside the head with the lid of a pan. Business owner Anthony Gabriel, known as Chef, is at his wit's end with criminals who seek to profit off the hard work of small business owners. His restaurant on the Mon has been targeted many times by thieves. On Friday, at about 1:30 p.m., his establishment was hit by bandits yet again. One of the robbers was armed with a gun. The other came into the business under the guise of purchasing a bottle of water.
He told me, can you have a bottle of water? He has $2. He knows $2.50, but he doesn't have $2.50. He have $2. So my wife was in the kitchen. I call my wife and I tell my wife, give him a bottle of water. Like next 2 minutes, I just see a guy came in and just point his gun. I was sitting there because I said I feeling a little weak. I don't know if it's my sugar that went down. I tell my son, take a Coke for me. I drink half of the Coke and then I sit down there relaxing. He just come with his gun. He said, pass it. I say, pass it. When my wife heard that, my wife was sitting there. She just bring out her food to eat. And then my wife starts screaming and my wife said, don't kill him, don't kill him. Just take everything, but don't kill him.
The small business owner says the quick action of his employee and his own determination to fight back ensured that the robbery was foiled.
The one who's washing the dishes, he came out. When he came with that pan cover and he gave him one lash, he knocked him out. And the other one jumped behind the counter to get the money. That's what he got in the cash. It was scattered all on the floor like that. It was scattered. All on the floor, he get that in the cash. So when the guy knocked him out, then I rush on him. When I rush on him, I give him 2 lashes with that same pan cover. The gun fall on the floor. We started hustling with him. I wanted to close the door, let me have him inside. But I could not close the door because she come and she stand in the door, she telling me, they will kill me, they will kill me. My wife tell me, they will kill me, let them go.
Chef says small business owners are already having a tough time financially and are now also facing the danger of desperate robbers.
But I think they had a police officer. Is he a police officer? Yeah, he fired shots behind them. I don't know if he take them or not, but they didn't have time to take any. They have break and enter the place about 6 times and take everything. But I still strong by the grace of God. I'm still strong. Yeah, so I am not giving up for them.
The chef says the incident has left him and his family shaken, but he says as a senior with bills to pay, he is trying to press on and continue to earn an honest living. The president of Balance Inc. is railing against what he says can only be characterized as disrespect to Carnival stakeholders. The various players within the creative industries have been clamoring for virtual Carnival and say up to this present time, there has been no definitive word from officials of the Ministry of Culture or events company St. Lucia. Carnival stakeholders have been crying out for officials to pay due attention to the possibility of hosting a virtual carnival for 2021 after the cancellation of the 2020 carnival due to COVID-19. The Minister for Culture had indicated that it was a viable option that was being explored with a view to hosting some carnival shows online. Months later, and on the verge of what is the customary lead-up to July Carnival, the president of Balance Inc., Lennon Prosper, says the silence has been deafening. According to him, there have been no meetings and no announcements of any plans for virtual carnival events.
From the last meeting we had with the tent leaders, we drafted out a letter to send to the ministry and events company, people that are involved in the arts, to sit down with them to discuss some sort of calypso, soca, whatever, for the season. That is in April. That happened in April. But all we got was a response of, we'll get a date and get back to you, or we'll get back to you. And it is June and nobody has gotten back to us. So it's strange that, you know, everybody just seems to be doing whatever, you know, they want to do. Because, I mean, it just seems like lack of respect, you know.
Prosper says the public has come out swinging, admonishing Calypsonians for not putting on shows and keeping Kaiso alive. He says the blame is being cast on the wrong ones.
People are meeting me on the streets and asking why the Calypsonians not doing anything, why we not releasing music, why, you know, you can't even get a Calypso. And it is strange for people to ask that question because permission has to be granted to you to do any sort of show in this country in this COVID season. And if we cannot get a sit down with the powers that be, then you know already there's no show happening. You understand? So I just want the people to know that, you know, it is not the Calypsonians' fault or the artist's fault that we are not having a show. It is just that, you know, the authorities have decided to maybe take a stance that they don't want to let anybody in on it, and we're just not getting a response from them.
The musician says the handling of this matter has been catastrophic for all involved, and the fallout of the dismissive attitude toward hosting virtual carnival events is being felt by many stakeholders who earn their living from what is St. Lucia's biggest cultural festival.
I think it's a sad situation, you know, that the people that are supposed to be responsible for the arts are playing the arts no mind, or they're taking a deaf ear to, you know, towards the arts. I think it's very disrespectful too, you know. I mean, people are given positions, you know, in the hope that, you know, they're going to work efficiently in those positions, you know, to help or to help guide the processes. And to me, when you decide to ignore the processes as a whole, to me, it's very disrespectful. You know, I mean, we had the Prime Minister's playlist, which was a big virtual, whatever you call it. I don't see nothing wrong in having calypso or soca.
In power, 'cause they promise to do better.
The president says musicians are now in a waiting game, and what is clearly on display is a lack of will on the part of officials to host virtual carnival. That decision, he says, will not go down well with carnival stakeholders.
But I just wish all the artists would wake up. I wish all the artists would wake up and get together and decide, you know, this is not happening on the island. You know, it is time there is a cultural revolution, because I spoke to Bands Association, Carnival Bands Association, and they basically have not gotten any responses either. So basically the arts have to get together and have a cultural revolution in this country, because it's not right.
Prosper hopes good sense will prevail, and ministry officials and events company will give stakeholders the courtesy of at least holding dialogue on the matter. You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. Still to come, a student is robbed at gunpoint. The National Students' Council reacts. The National Security Minister says the difficulty in tackling crime is that it has become booming business for far too many players. And a Big Brother program aims to address social ills by reaching out to boys. That and more after the break.